that back completely. Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome. Hi. Just wait till everybody kind of comes on in. Very good. The whales are digging having all these people come back here to check them out. My name is Justin. It's nice to meet all of you. We're going to cover 3 different stops here in our behind-the-scenes tour, and I'd like to just give you kind of an overview about our facility and what it's like for us kind of as trainers with the whales, and then we'll go into some more depth at our other stops along the way. We have 5 whales that live with us all together. There are 3 females and 2 males. These are the female whales behind me right now. This is Katina at the surface. She's our oldest at 45 years old. We also have Nalani, who is the one swimming around past her, and Malia is resting in the pool adjacent to us. We also have 2 male killer whales. Their names are Trua and Makaio, and those 2 are on the far side. You'll see them at your 3rd stop here backstage. Our facility is massive, right? We have 7 pools altogether, and they're interconnected by a series of 13 different gates that we can open or close to create different combinations of pools for the whales. We also change the social groupings that they're spending time with. So we can have all 5 whales together. We can frequently break it down into groups of 3, 2, or even one-on-one with a trainer, which is really helpful for doing things like teaching new behaviors. So they can be just focused on you without as much distraction.
Oh, he's smiling over there. Is that true?
We use an acronym to help us balance the whales' lives throughout the day and the week and the month. It's called HELPRS. It stands for husbandry or healthcare, exercise, learning, play, and relationship. So we want to make sure that the whales have a variety of things that they're doing. It's not all about the shows, although they're really fun and arguably one of the more enriching and reinforcing things that we do with them. We want to make sure that they have a nice balance of things that they're doing back here as well. There's so much more to our careers and our jobs than just shows. So that's why we're excited to introduce all of you back here so you can really see what it's like. This is our first show of the day, our show board for that first show. We plan things in a very proactive manner based on the whales' behavior. They're in charge, so we take our cues from them. The way that they interact with each other changes from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute sometimes. They are very social. So we proactively will plan things to get the most amount of success as we can, because we want to get a yes from them. We want to get a win. It's all based on positive reinforcement, reinforcing them for these amazing behaviors and cooperating with each other, being nice with each other, and just putting out a great product. So this is how we planned our first show of the day. If you think of it like scenes in a play, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes. The boys, the males, in this case, covered the first 4. So they did the open, care and commitment, audience participation, hunt, and then the girls just covered the finale. If you all come back to the 2:30 show, this is going to be completely different. Each whale has a team of trainers that interacts with them. Some have very small teams, some have large teams. They're a lot like kids. They have different behavioral needs. And then this helps us to plan out what whale is doing what behavior. So for example, Trua doesn't know a kicker yet. He will learn it at some point. So I substituted a marlin behavior, which is kind of like a thrashing vertical jump instead. We can plan where the whales are being reinforced, if we need help from other trainers, and who is going to be opening or closing gates, things like that throughout our presentation. So that's a lot. I know it's kind of like verbal vomit for me. All right, we're going to move on to our next stop over here where that next blue umbrella is, and Mimi will tell you a little bit more about our husbandry and our research program.
Nice to meet you guys. Amazing. Hi everyone. You guys can spread all the way down. Hi. All right, well my name is Mimi. I'm one of the animal trainers here at SeaWorld Orlando. We are so pumped to have you here today. Do we have any Disney shirts in this group? Because if we don't, you would make the second group all day that wasn't wearing a Disney shirt. So, yeah! Way to go. Did I already say my name is Mimi? If not, you're going to hear it again. So behind me, I have Malia. She's our 14-year-old female killer whale. She is super curious right now. It's a big deal because they're used to seeing people out front in our stadium, not necessarily back here. So this is kind of a big deal. Now I have caught her resting. What's really cool about this pool is that it's slatted at the bottom, so it allows it to come all the way up to the surface. Even though our killer whales are trained for urine samples, fecal samples, we can ask them even to take a breath into a petri dish. They can present different parts of their body so we can go ahead and measure them. They're trained to slide up onto a scale so we can see how much they weigh. But we're also able to bring them all the way up to the surface if our veterinarians want to get a good look at their entire bodies. So, our killer whales here at SeaWorld have been able to help out wild populations of killer whales a couple of different ways. So if you guys just take a look to your left, you see all the way up in the stadium where those lights are? Yeah. So scientists and researchers have come in and taken photos and videos of our killer whales here in the front pool, the same vantage point that they would get from a helicopter or a drone. So they can compare our killer whales to the ones that they're looking at out in the ocean. And what they found is that certain populations of killer whales, mainly the ones in the Pacific Northwest, are not doing so well. And that's for a couple of different reasons. So right now the Chinook salmon in that area is very sparse and it's not very healthy. So those resident pods of killer whales, they're only used to staying in about a 300-mile radius. So they don't know that they're supposed to travel to find more food. So that's a lot of times why they're not doing so well. But also there's a lot of pollution too, because they're so close to the shoreline and very affected, those Chinook salmon in particular. So I know that there's a researcher that's been working with the government to try and get the port moved a little bit further south. So it's really amazing that our killer whales here, just from us getting photos of them, have been able to help wild populations and give the government some evidence about what's going on in the world too, which I think is really incredible. Do you guys have any questions before I just keep talking? Because I will. Why don't we find another food source? Well, killer whales generally eat, there's 3 different types of killer whales. Resident killer whales, transient killer whales, and offshore pods of killer whales.
Hungry.
So it honestly depends on how they were raised. So if they didn't learn different hunting techniques, they don't really know that they can eat other things. So they know how to use, ooh, I just remembered something that's really cool that now I'm going to tell you because I just learned this too. So resident pods of killer whales are very vocal because they use their echolocation to communicate with each other. Oh, hold on, we're doing an ice play.
Yeah.
So Katina, our matriarch, she doesn't really care for ice. But Malia and Nalani, they love it. So fun. Okay, so resident pods of killer whales, they're very vocal. They communicate with each other about how to go ahead and coordinate making that big ball of fish so that they can dip in and everyone can feed. Offshore pods of killer whales are very quiet. Aaron, why do you think they're quiet? The other things don't know they're coming. Yes, okay, so offshore pods of killer whales, they can eat things like other whales. Well, guess what? Other whales can hear killer whales. So they're going to be a lot more quiet and rely on everyone else's body language to go ahead and figure out how to attack those other whales. Pretty cool. All right, everyone, it's time for you to move on to the next station. You're going to head down to Morgan. Thanks for coming, everybody. Of course.
I get to see Trua and Makaio. Just think it's a Jessica?
Nobody cares my name either, let's be real. Behind me, we have our two handsome male killer whales, Trua right here in front of us, Makaio over there. That's Trua. Did I just switch that up? Makaio's getting so big. This environment is super, super cool because it is a very natural toned environment. It's all rock looking like work in here is. It's like rock, it's very smooth. So this shows you how well they blend into their natural environment out in the ocean. We have two killer whales in here. Right now I only see one. I have no idea where the other one is. I promise there's two in here. He did not leave. This is really, really cool because out in the ocean, if you're above a killer whale looking down, their black back blends into the depths of the ocean. If you're below a killer whale looking up, their white bellies blend into the clouds in the sky. And they're in a shallow environment, they're hunting, they're in murky waters, maybe some kelp beds. On the side of them, that black blends into the white, blends into the gray, blends into we don't know how big this thing is or what it is. So really cool to see them in, not see them in here, not see them, but it's cool because it's for a reason. Their camouflage is great. Makaio's at that gate looking at the girls. Our females are cycling. So he's like, hey girl, hey. There's Trua right there checking you guys out. I do have a toy in my hand. What we call them is environmental enrichment devices. Big fancy word for toy. They're very durable. You cannot buy them at Toys R Us. I don't think Toys R Us is even open anymore. So no one can buy toys at Toys R Us. But we designed a lot of our toys. We are kind of like elves. We're toy creators. Some of our toys weigh over 50 pounds. So we have toys here, toys in our fish house, toys across the land that carry 50-pound ball all over this place. We have different toys. Our killer whales enjoy different things, different colors. So very fun for them. You guys are at the last station. So I want to open it up to questions just so you don't leave here being like, oh, dang it, I wish I would have asked that. Anything you guys want to know? I love weird questions. Anyone have a weird question? We don't have any underground tunnels, I promise. This is one of 7 pools. It's over 7.2 million gallons of water. Think of it like rooms in your house with different doors. You can open them all up just like you can in your house. You can close them all and you can just be in the bedroom or the living room or the kitchen. Any questions? This is my James Bond scuba belt. We have never used this, we've never had to use it, but this piece pulls out with all the way right now. It's like a mini scuba tank. I would say I'm James Bond. So, air here, not a huge amount, depends on what depth you're at.
We can get in there and see it.
Super deep, 40 feet down. You may get 2-3 minutes of air if you're in a shallow environment. So, again, we've never used it.
We have to go to get into the stadium. I don't know.
Safety tool. Good question. Any other questions?
Weirdest favorite toy of any whale?
We have a toy. You can't see it right now, but it's this big, ginormous. I see you. Sorry, I talk too much. It's this big, ginormous board that looks like we have a snake cut out, and we can put one of our toys inside of it. And the only way they can get it out is to snake it through. And it's very much a puzzle. And we thought, oh, this is going to take forever, like 10 seconds later. They had it out. So we designed this huge thing. It takes like 6 trainers to carry, and they got it in like 30 seconds.